We are being live streamed, Mr. Rivers.
What's up?
How's your Sunday?
It's going amazingly. How is yours?
It's been a long day already. And I keep getting messages from like my dad being like, the Patriots don't look very good.
I mean, it's an asterisk season. Every sport is on an asterisk season. I don't want to hear the shit. When people are getting knocked out of games because one guy on the team has COVID, you're going to have to
be a
miss
weird
it.
season now.
Yeah, like, come on, man. Cut it out. Look, we get it. Yes, nice. Take your little asterisk championship and go on about your business. You know who I'm talking to. Anyway, today we're talking about a couple of things, but on the public-facing side, if you want to know what we're talking about in the fireside chat, you're going to have to join us. But on the public-facing side, we're talking about counter-assault. So let's set the stage a little bit. One of the major problems in self-protection, I think, is people don't distinguish between fighting and assault. Fighting being mutual, voluntary, everybody knows more or less what's happening. And assault meaning, if you know what's happening, it's because I failed, and you'll only know what's happening for about this long before it actually happens.
So this is where we could probably talk out the like,
If you guys go look at any of the breakdown video sites on YouTube,
Mhm.
you will see them, the pre-attack indicators. Almost any time you hear them talking about pre-attack indicators, it's, hands down, range check, get the witness check, things like that. Meaning there was no context, hands are up, you got two guys sparring or squaring off. These are very, very different things. And if you're looking for evidence out there, Malcolm and I just co-taught a class for our Chiron cohort last hour and went through a half a dozen, somewhere between a half a dozen and a dozen videos of the prank videos on YouTube are a perfect reference for this. Right. And then again, straight up assault ones. So go ahead,
No, you're right. And I think that's where we have to start, because a lot of people see counter assault, anything that is related to counter assault. And because it has to be simple and robust, because you're going to have to do it under the worst possible conditions, they assume they're like, oh, well, that doesn't protect against this thing. And it's like, yes, in a fighting context, you're mostly right. This is the equivalent of the last piece of my airbag. Everything has gone wrong. Everything. All the things I should have picked up on, I was asleep for. All the things I should have noticed beforehand, I didn't. Everything that I should have done to get myself out of this didn't happen. And now I'm in range and the person decides to go. I have fractions of seconds before this goes from bad to unsurvivable. And I have one thing that I've burned into my brain so deeply that it just comes out. And I don't have time to identify is that a right cross? I think I will. No, it's just bang. Oh shit, that was the first one. Bang, bang, bang. Oh no, all right, I got to do something. Because I think one of the fundamental misunderstandings when we start talking about assault and not fighting is that you are highly likely to get away completely clean. If somebody who knows what they're doing catches you slipping, it's going to be a shitty day. Now, I'm not one of those proclamation people who's like, this will happen, but it's possible and it's going to suck. So when we talk about counter assault, we have to distinguish between that and fighting, because counter assault is responding to an entirely different problem. People don't fight how they counter assault. If you want a regular people reference that you don't want to go look at videos of people being murdered, cool. Look at the difference in a UFC fight between when both fighters are just fine and when somebody gets rocked. When somebody's rocked and they're just trying to finish them off, hands go down, they run forward, swing, 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 swing. He's down, swing, swing, swing some more, he's out. Versus when they're both standing there trading shots and they're testing the range, doing all that other fancy shit, and it's a completely different energy. They're not sprinting forward, trying to crush this man into oblivion so that they can finish the fight. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I feel like that's it's in no way, shape, or form a reference, because it's still too fair, but it's like just the energy is so different. And so my question for you, Paul, is how do you think people have to train counter assault differently than they would train stuff for fighting?
So Okay, let's back this up kind of like you did and set parameters. One of the hardest things you can possibly do is, as an instructor, people get on the mat, they leave their job, they drive to their martial arts school, they take off their job clothes, they put on their martial art fancy pajamas or shorts or t-shirts or whatever they're going to be wearing. They bow in and they walk in and say what's up with their friend. They do some warm-up exercises. And then you're going to surprise them. Right? So let's just get that out of the way. It's very, very, very difficult to hit the full tilt end of that context.
Wait. So you mean I shouldn't catch them in the parking lot when they think everything is over and just boom and just let them know that they should be prepared at all times? No?
Are you telling me I'm not supposed to do that?
I'm just asking a question. I'm not saying
hold on.
anything.
Are you telling me I should grab students from behind at Starbucks and start choking them? I didn't just do that 9 days ago.
I don't know what you're talking about, sir. Your officer, I'm not sure what you mean. I just asked a question.
He's one of my black belts. He's fine. Anyway, so yeah, that happened. Anyway, we got the weird looks, but yeah, he's kind of little. I picked him up. It was fun. So the short answer is you have to look at the meat math, and it's a little bit of Malcolm's favorite thing, operant conditioning. Go from your direct stimulus to your direct response and work a little bit on, we on purpose, guys, for those watching publicly, we try to avoid the word reflexes because muscle memory, it's not a real thing. Reflexes in training, blah, blah, neuroscience, Tammy. Right, just throw that on Tammy. Go ask Tammy. The longer answer is you have to do the best you can in terms of contextual.
Mm-hmm.
There are definitely things you can add in to throw people off.
Mm-hmm.
When you make things innately challenging and competitive, adrenaline starts going and they start making stupid decisions. So you get some additional benefits there. We're going to be doing, for those in our cohort, our online class every month, we're going to be doing a whole series of drills that they can put to action for this stuff. If you've ever been in a seminar with Rory, you've seen some of the stuff. There's a couple of things that I have that I want to adapt in and add in as well. Malcolm, I'm sure you'll add some stuff as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then actually Rory's got something he's going to film because he's on the road right now with Randy. He's going to film that he actually doesn't put into seminars normally because it's too, the potential for injury is too high. So he doesn't really bother teaching it to everybody. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. That's exactly what we want to learn. So again, the meat math is the thing you have to fall back on and really look at. If you have the ability, just look, what's the hardware, what's the hard wiring, how can I get my students to practice, drill, and train? No, I can't really truly affect your autonomic nervous system on the mat.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I have the benefit of not being a weekend seminar instructor. I've had 10 years to experiment on some students. And I have seen their ingrained responses improve over time. I have seen their, I'll use the term reflex for lack of a better term, reflexes improve over time. I have seen them come up with more quality responses because of the drilling, because of the training, because of the context. And of course, then it becomes, how can we fuck with that, right? So sound.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't talk about this in the last hour, but you instead of just throwing a punch, you throw a punch with a bellow or a scream. Can you throw confusion in there? We have a game that we play where we will throw trivia questions at each other. And your brain is, you get asked a question, you automatically go into that thinking part of your brain, and then you have to do something physical thereafter. So you're getting a lot of that kind of multi-level cerebral challenges, which is kind of what we're looking for. So different ways, different manners, different methodologies, all I think have to be pulled in to make this as much of a challenge as possible. You certainly like to go and play. How have you incorporated in, Malcolm?
So for me, it's been about using 3 different pieces of stimuli and kind of taking the training flaws that are inherent. I unless I'm going to break people on a every single time basis, I have to build in some flaws. And so using the training flaws to make it as safe as possible. So for example, I usually try to go sound, sight, and tactile. So what we'll do is I'll have a drill where my eyes will be closed. I'll either hear, now I go with sound. Sometimes it's like that kind of bellow or that hard breath or what have you. a lot of times for me, what's most important is hearing that kind of, I don't know if that sneaker squeak does it for you too, where you hear somebody's clearly changing directions hard right next to you or right behind you. That one does it for me. Like, I've scared the shit out of some joggers because all I hear is squeak, and I'm like, I'm good. So,
Recent example.
Yeah, go ahead.
People coughing or sneezing in public.
Yeah, because you get that kind of, yeah.
I've seen full responses for people 6 or 7 feet away.
Nowadays, especially, I imagine. But what you get is kind of a variety of different little stimuli that can come into assault, because I don't want to wait until something lands. But if something does land, I want to switch immediately in. I don't want to assume that I have to see it in order to react to it. I don't want to assume that I have to hear it in order to react to it. I certainly don't want to have to feel it in order to react to it. So I'm trying to blend the three. And one of the ways that we use our training flaws is we will put in training flaws like unrealistic distance. So for example, if I'm trying to mimic someone attacking you from behind, I can make sure that I extend my arm all the way out so that when you whip around with your elbow, my head isn't there. So you can whip all the way around and then go into what you need to go into. I can adjust the attack slightly in order to make it safe for you to respond to, because I'm not, and then be able to flow into other stuff. And I can also train the initial reaction. And then once we've got the initial reaction down, I can change it up so that you have different looks that you have to respond to. Because the other thing, if I'm attacking from behind, that is a safer place for the person, is if they actually get really close to you. If I bury my head against your back, it's a lot harder for you to elbow me. The rear headbutt is harder, especially if I can get myself down somewhat. And so you get these different feels and these different things to respond to and to play off of when it's time to transition. Because my big thing is, if all you have is your counter assault and you aren't used to flowing into something else, you better hope your counter assault is amazing. It better be perfect, because if it isn't, you're gonna have a rough day, because the shot you stop might not be the shot you need to. So you might, okay, perfect, then glance that one off, beautiful, now what? Because now all you've done is gotten yourself from a grossly disjointed experience to something remotely resembling parody, but it doesn't mean that you're out of the woods. And so aside from all the stimulus stuff and balancing out safety flaws, is figuring out what to do afterwards. And so one of the ones that I tend to like is a little bit more of a proactive counter assault rather than just that one moment. It's something dumb and repetitive and robust that gives you 3 or 4. So let's say your counter assault is an palm heel strike, right? I'm not saying it is, who cares? Why do 1 when you can do 3? If I've just have it burned into my brain where instead of just doing this 1, I'm doing 1, 2, 3 as fast as I can, as hard as I can, with all of the other training elements, it might have a better chance of getting me through that first little tiny fraction of a second of that fight, and then either into escaping or into whatever else I need to do.
You've trained long enough. You have definitely walked into somebody's counter assault and paid the price for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and that's what it should be, right? And so for those watching who don't know what I'm talking about, a well-trained, meaning well-designed counter assault should fucking hurt. It should have the potential to put damage into the other person. If it's a basic arms up, we've been teaching that to white belts for as long as I've been training. Outer edge of the ulna is particularly bony and annoying. There's somewhere, hand to the face or hand to the eyes. I'm not trying to Three Stooges, but
just kind of
big palm to the face and turn the head. Rory likes the Dracula's cape. That elbow, oh my God, have I eaten that thing before? And it's just a day of suck afterwards.
Even through equipment, even through armor, even through pads, if it's a really well-designed counter assault and you've managed to get the drop into it, it still sucks. And it should. And one of the key things that, is a little bit random, but kind of, I think is thematically relevant, is no apologies. If it sucks, it should.
Oh, yeah.
If it sucks, it should. If it hits me and I volunteered for it, even if I'm fucking around, even if I'm playing around, we're joking in the dojo and I run up on you, counter assault me. Cool. Yep. I deserved it. I earned it. I should wear it, and whatever comes from that is on me, versus doing it. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Fuck that. I'm not sorry.
So one of the things here is when I'm wearing the sensei belt, I have more than a few times, been like, I've chastised people hard for apologizing. No, that was, oh my God, I'm sorry, sensei. No, that was really good. Don't apologize. High fucking five, dude. Like, that was really fantastic. You don't get to apologize for doing something really well. You and I both know.
Hit me.
Well, that's just it, right? Oh, I clipped the instructor. That I'm going to pay for it. No, you're going to get a high five and a pat in the back and a congratulations and a job well done. That's the role, With the younger students here, every time they pop me, I have some that it's a little bit like Inspector Clouseau and Cato. Like I get sneak attacked by them, and it's super duper duper fun. And every time they pop me, the parents apologize, and I'm like, just go sit down, give the kid a high five. Like, that's congratulations. We actually have a specific test here. We're a little off the counter assault, but we have a specific test here where the kids don't end the test until they make me hurt. In some way, shape, it's like it's got to hurt. I've got to feel that, because one of the biggest social mores for a kid to break is actually putting pain into a authority figure that is not mom or dad. Because who's most likely to abuse them? So until I hurt in some way, shape, or form, I'm not stopping. I'm going to keep coming at them.
It is amazing because we have completely different kids that we're around. I stood there in a class. This is completely off camera. I stood there in a classroom trying to finish a lesson while some kid was proactively trying to break my fingers. And I'm like, anyway, whatever. That's neither here nor there. But I think that is a big part of the counter assault piece too. When we were doing the class in the cohort, one of the things that we noticed is people who successfully counter assaulted when surprised, when it wasn't an actual attack, there was a lot of like, oh my God, what did I do? And part of me is like, okay, I understand. You didn't want to hit that person. They just surprised you in an aggressive way. Part of me is like, fuck that shit. You earned that. You absolutely don't jump out of trash cans. Don't surprise people aggressively, and they won't hit you. Don't prank people.
So for those who the trash can video, you guys should go watch. Go on YouTube. Yeah. It's old. It's grainy. It is a trash can jump scare or something like that. And watch the young man's response. Yeah. Ooh, so good.
Yeah. But for those thinking about training counter assault, there's a lot of good ways you can do stuff. One of the major keys that we talked about in the cohort was within reason, making sure you don't get yourself hurt or arrested, seeing if you can incorporate it into your everyday life. Because if you can't counter assault off the mat, you can't counter assault. So if you aren't prepared for Paul to run up on you in Starbucks and yoke you up and your response makes sense because you don't know who it is until you elbow him and then realize it's Paul, you just elbow him. Find out afterwards, figure it out later. But if you're interested in jumping into some of the cohort stuff, please check out the Patreon. If you're interested in coming in on the fireside chat we're about to have on a couple of different topics, please join. It's $10 a month, which is less than the expensive craft beer that you enjoy. So make sure to come on down. We have cool conversations. It always gets wacky. It gets weird in there, and that's the way we like it. So we'll hopefully see.
I know why it's fun.
Yeah, I love it. It doesn't get, if you're talking about self-defense, which really means you're talking about life and death and bullets and shit bags. You need to lighten it up some. If it's skull and bones all the time, I don't know how you do that. Like, relax, guy. 100%. Anyway, thanks for coming out with us, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Malcolm.